Yes, guys, welcome back to the episode. Hope everyone's well and enjoying the sunshine. It's the 1st of July, so where are all these signings? I was expecting 4, 5, maybe 6. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano. No, I'm only kidding. I do expect Newcastle United to make some signings this month, but I do think James Trafford will be the first over the line. Do you know what? I've already made this video, right? And do you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to click on the computer to make this microphone my primary microphone. And I was using the computer's microphone. Honestly, the video I've just recorded sounded like somebody was pissing on the microphone while I was speaking. And I just cannot post that. And the video took us about 45 minutes to do. I haven't edited it, so obviously we'll be short on that. And I've got to record it all again. Feel sorry for me, please. So what's coming up in this video? Let's talk about what is coming up in this video. So firstly, I want to talk about why has nobody signed Jonathan David. And then I want to talk about should Newcastle United sign an out-and-out striker this summer. And then I want to also look at Anthony Elanga alternatives. But I want you guys to comment your favorite in the below as we're going. And for anybody new here, if you're wondering about my face here, yes, I've got an infection. It's went down a little bit from yesterday, but it's still noticeable. I've got a fat and wide face anyways. So like, it's probably going to be like this forever. And I haven't been very well and my voice is starting to go. So if I do sound a little bit weird and lose my voice at times, you know what? So is. But we're going to start with Jonathan David because why is nobody signed him? For Ghent, he played 83 times, scored 37 goals, provided 15 assists. For Lille, he played 232 times, come with European experience, scored 109 goals, provided 30 assists, and he's hit double-digit figures in every single league season to date. Now, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why clubs are staying away from Jonathan David. Reason number 1, his base salary. He wants around 5 million per season. That works out at about 416 grand per month. So as soon as you give him that, you're going to have Alexander Isak, Bruno, Joe Linton, Tonali, Sven Botman, Dan Burn, every other player in the Newcastle United squad knocking on the door saying, why is he getting that much when we took you to the Champions League? We actually qualified for the Champions League, won you the Carabao Cup. Why is he coming in getting that much, which is double what we're getting? So that's the problem it causes. Not only that, he wants a sign-on bonus of 10 to 15 million, but he also wants his agent to have about 13 million. So even off the bat, without even giving him any wages already, you're already spending about 25 to 30 million, which is a problem. And then not only that, so is it really worth the price when you've got Alexander Isak as your main striker? Even if you consider this as an option to sell Alexander Isak next summer, his wage demands would cause so much unrest in the dressing room. Now, I'm a realist, and I think if Newcastle United do get a strong bid, 150 million for Alexander Isak next summer, they probably will sell. So why don't we look at other alternatives? Somebody like Lucas Stassin, who had an amazing season at St. Etienne, scored 12 league goals for a relegated side, and he's only about 20 years old. He's got physicality. He's a little bit different than Alexander Isak. He's not a ball carrier. He's more of a final third threat in the box striker. He's got excellent movement in the box, great finishing with his timing and everything. He's more of a box presence and a fox in the box than what Alexander Isak is. Alexander Isak's game's more well-rounded, gets on the ball, links up play, dribbles past opponents. That's not really Lucas Stassin. He's more of a clinical finisher. He likes to finish the attack. So why not somebody like Francesco Pio Esposito? What a name that is. Somebody that's had an outstanding season on loan from Inter, scoring 17 league goals in the second division of Italian football. Now, this kid is more of a traditional striker. He's not as refined technically as Alexander Isak, so he won't get the ball, dribble past 5 or 10 players or peel out wide. He's not a target man, but he's more kind of a target man. So he does, the way he links up play is more about layoffs, flick-ons, but he's got a massive presence inside the box. He loves scoring goals, great at getting on the end of chances. He can score headers, left foot, right foot, first-time finishes. He's just excellent box striker. So the question I want to propose to you, would you welcome an alternative profile to Alexander Isak? And personally, I think if we are wanting to sell Alexander Isak next season, I'm not saying we are, I'm just saying if, before you bite me head off in the comments, just saying if Alexander Isak does leave next season, is it better bringing a striker now so he can come into the club, settle in his environment, get to know his teammates and really thrive once Alexander Isak leaves, so he's ready just to step in his place? But we're not here to talk about strikers. I've went off on a little rant there. We're here to talk about right wingers, potentially number 10s, left wingers, or should I just say Anthony Elanga alternatives? And the first guy I want to start with is Maghnes Akliouche. Plays for Monaco. He came through the academy at Monaco. He's made 96 clearances, scoring 16 goals, providing 17 assists, and Monaco asking for around 50 million euros. So his key attributes, well, he's a technically gifted left-footed attack midfielder who thrives in tight spaces and excels in unlocking compact defenses. Creative playmaker, operates primarily as a number 10 or a wide playmaker, often drifting between the lines, receiving and distributing. He's known as Monaco's locksmith. What do locksmiths do? They unlock things. What does Akliouche do? Unlock defenses. What do Newcastle United need? Somebody that's capable of unlocking defenses. And that's exactly what you get with Akliouche. He also brings dribbling and flair. He possesses excellent close control and agility, using body feints, quick turns, and swift body movements to beat defenders in one-on-one situations or to create space in congested areas. Now, one of my favorite things about Akliouche is his timing. His timing of his movements, especially when he arrives inside the box, is so good. So he often arrives in the box unmarked. That allows him to finish or assist effectively. His spatial awareness is excellent, which leads us on to my next point. One of his biggest assets is his football IQ. Reads a game well. He's always one step ahead of opponents, which allows him to anticipate space and his teammates' runs. Akliouche is the type of player who enjoys providing assists more than scoring goals. So how does he compare to Anthony Elanga? Well, this is how he compares. And again, when I'm comparing these players, need to remember the disparity in league. Now, Liga physically isn't too far away from the Premier League. When it comes to quality-wise, there is a big difference. So you've got to remember that when you're comparing players. When you think about it, if it was so easy in the Liga, every single player would have numbers like Akliouche. Not every single player does. That shows that he's playing above his league. When it comes to shot-creating actions, he creates more than Anthony Elanga. He's more progressive in his carries. He's having more successful take-ons. He gets involved in the game more with more touches. Well, I always hear about his defensive work rate. Well, he's actually averaging more tackles and interceptions than Elanga. Now, the statistic that concerns me is the amount of goals he scores. I love a goal-scoring winger. His XG is quite high, but his non-penalty goals is quite low. So if I'm Eddie Howe, that is an area I would be looking to improve. But I want to propose the first question to you guys. Who would you prefer? Maghnes Akliouche for 50 million or Anthony Elanga for 60 million? So instead of option number one, option number two, I'm going to call them Mango number one, Mango number two. So who is going to be our Mango number two? That is Takefusa Kubo. I've heard a lot of Newcastle fans wanting him on the wish list. So let's talk about him. Well, he plays for Real Sociedad. He's made 137 appearances, scoring 23 goals, providing 18 assists. It's likely that Real Sociedad would ask for 60 million, which is his release clause. So what's his style of playing? How does he compare to Anthony Elanga? Well, he's a left-footed high IQ attacker who blends technical finesse with tactical versatility. Now, the first thing you notice when you watch Kubo is he is a one-on-one specialist. Thrives in tight spaces using body feints and disguised touches to beat defenders. He's especially dangerous when he's isolating on the right flank, where he can chop inside onto his stronger foot, where he can open up the game, create for his teammates, or shoot for himself. When it comes to creativity, beyond dribbling, he's a sharp passer who excels at breaking lines and creating chances in the final third. Now, Kubo's more of a technical dribbler. He's very progressive, but he's very refined, using close control and technical ability to beat defenders. He doesn't rely on phenomenal pace, so his ball retention and his press resistant ability is very good. He's so adept at receiving under pressure, using body feints, quick turns to evade pressure, often drawing fouls or open up space for teammates. Now, he also offers versatility in his position. While he's most effective on the right wing, he's also played as a number 10 or even deeper in midfield. We've seen Real Sociedad playing a 4-3-3 system, and Kubo's been used as an advanced number 8. So his intelligence allows him to adapt to different roles across the front line. So how does he compare to Anthony Elanga? And as you can see, there's a few statistics where he's in top tier for. When it comes to shot creating actions, he's outstanding. What's the first thing you want from your winger? You want your winger to provide for your striker. That's exactly what Kubo does. His shot creating actions are off the scales. When it comes to progressive carries, successful take-ons, and non-penalty goals, he's absolutely outstanding. Now, one key thing I want to mention here is Kubo's starting position is a lot higher than Anthony Elanga. Anthony Elanga will come in the midfield, receive the ball, and then progressive team up the pitch. Kubo receives a lot of progressive passes, so his starting position is a lot higher up the pitch than what Anthony Elanga's is, because his game's all about finding space and making the most of space. So if he comes into those congested areas and comes deep, there's less space to exploit. So again, guys, I want to propose a question to you. Who would you prefer? Kubo for 60 million, him, which is his release clause, or Anthony Elanga for 60 million? Let me know in the comments below. But who's going to be Mango number 3? And Mango number 3 is somebody that does divide opinion amongst Newcastle United fan base, because some fans think he would be good value for money. Some fans feel a little bit different, and that is Johan Bakayoko. Came through the ranks at PSV. He's made 131 appearances, scoring 33 goals, providing 22 assists. Now, because he's only got 1 year left on his contract, he's available for 30 million euros, which is about 22 million pounds. Personally, I think Eddie Howe wants a more versatile winger, somebody that can play as a number 10 or as a striker if needs be. Johan Bakayoko is more likely to play as a winger on the right or left. So what do you get with Johan Bakayoko? Well, dynamic. He's a left-footed winger whose game is built around explosiveness, flair, and unpredictability. Firstly, he's a direct dribbler. He loves to isolate his fullback and attack them in one-on-one situations using quick feet, body feints, and sudden changes of direction. He's also a cut inside threat. Frequently starts out wide and cuts inside on his stronger left foot, where he can shoot or combine in central areas. Now, one thing I will say about Johan Bakayoko, he does this quite often. I would like to see him add a little bit more unpredictability to his game. Somebody that can go on the outside as well as the inside, but he's also got explosive acceleration, especially dangerous off the first few meters, making him a nightmare in transitions and counter attacks, which is exactly what Newcastle United look for and play towards. Now, he's also got good combination play. Understanding his teammates' movements and combine them with 1-2 short sequences is very good, which makes him comfortable in tight spaces, often engaging in quick 1-2s, short passing sequences in the final third. So how does he fit tactically? Effective in the counter-attacking sides, thrives with freedom to roam and exploit space in behind. That fits exactly what Newcastle United are looking for. Now, there's still development areas. His decision making in the final third is a key one, but he's got the raw tools to make him a consistent threat. So how does he compare to Anthony Elanga? Well, this is how he compares, and again, you've got to remember the disparity in league, but the statistics are very, very pleasing. We need somebody that's creative. He's more creative than Anthony Elanga. He gets involved in the game more because he's attempting more passes, he's making more touches, and he's completing more passes. He's progressive in his carries. He's more successful in his take-ons. He scores more non-penalty goals. And he also has a higher non-penalty XG, which means he's getting into better positions in order to score those goals. Now, he's not very progressive in his passes. His game's more built around progressive carries and being a threat in transitions. I've also seen a lot of Newcastle fans saying Johan Bakayoko and Anthony Elanga have the exact same profile. I'm not sure it's that simple. So I've broken it down even further for these guys because I want to look at exactly what they could bring. Well, when it looks at statistics, they both made roughly about 30 appearances this season. Bakayoko scored more goals, but Elanga's provided more assists. Bakayoko has had more key passes, successful dribbles, and his defensive work rate has been higher than Elanga's. Now, when you break it down to attribute-wise, dribbling, Bakayoko is more of a technical, close control, one-on-one specialist, whereas Elanga is more explosive and better in open spaces, so he's a bigger threat in transitions. When it comes to ball striking, Bakayoko has a clean left foot shot. It's more about finesse. When it comes to Anthony Elanga, it's more about power with his right foot strikes. So when it comes to creativity, Bakayoko is more involved in the build-up phase, and he creates chances by cutting inside and threading through balls, whereas Anthony Elanga is less involved in the build-up phase and he's more vertical and direct. When it comes to defensive work rate, they're quite similar. They both press high and have good recovery pace. When it comes to final third decision making, you can see Johan Bakayoko thinks about it a lot more, which leads to him overplaying at times. When it comes to Elanga, he's a lot more instinctive and has simpler choices. What I mean by simpler choices is I often say the better movement you have around you, the better your decision making will be, because it's not about the guy in possession 9 times out of 10, it's about the movement around him. The movement around him dictates the next pass for the guy in possession. So if you're playing with better players with a better speed of thought and better awareness, the movement around you is going to be better. So that movement will dictate your next move 9 times out of 10. And Anthony Elanga is playing with better players than what Johan Bakayoko is. So I do expect he's overplaying in the final third to improve when he has better movement around him. But again, I want to propose a question to you guys. Who would you prefer, Johan Bakayoko for 30 million euros or Anthony Elanga for 60 million? So who is Mango number 4? Mango number 4 is somebody that I've just thrown in there because I like the player. He's only 19 and he's got quite a high ceiling. That is Roger Fernandes from Braga. 84 games, 11 goals, 15 assists, and he has a release clause 40 million euros. So what's his style? He's a versatile winger. He's a throwback winger when he plays on the left because he's left-footed, and he's a modern-day winger when he plays on the right. He's a player that likes to hog the touchline and provide width for his team. His key attributes, well, he's an elite dribbler. His ball control, agility, and his balance are a standout trait. He glides past defenders with quick feet, sharp changes of direction, and often draws fouls or creates space for teammates. He also comes with explosive acceleration. He's rapid off the mark and uses his speed to stretch defenses, especially in transitions. Now, he's also got traditional winger instincts. Rather than cutting inside all the time, he prefers to hug the touchline, isolate his fullback, and beat them on the outside. He can do this on the left side and the right side, and he beats them through pace or trickery. He can do a bit of both, which makes him incredibly unpredictable. And speaking of unpredictable, he's also got unpredictable movement. While he enjoys and gets his most success hugging the touchline, he doesn't mind coming inside and occupying the inside channels, which keeps his defenders on their toes. So how does he fit tactically? Well, he's perfect for a team that value width and one-on-one specialists, especially in a 4-3-3 system or a 4-2-3-1, which is exactly what Newcastle United play and maybe what they are looking to play, where wingers are tasked with stretching the pitch, beating these opponents in one-on-one situations and creating for his striker. So how does he compare to Anthony Elanga? And once again, you've got to remember there is a disparity in league, but despite it being the Portuguese league, his numbers are very, very pleasing. He creates more than Anthony Elanga. He's more progressive in his carries. He has more successful take-ons per 90. He gets involved in the game a lot more because he's having more touches per 90. Now, one thing I do like about Roger Fernandes is his work rate off the ball. He's averaging more tackles and interceptions per 90 than Anthony Elanga, as well as more blocks and having the same amount of clearances. The thing about Roger Fernandes, he understands his defensive responsibilities because he's been used as a wing back. He's been used as a left back as well. So he understands those defensive instincts. And you know what Eddie Howe values in players? Those that are defensive. So it's time to look at Mango number 6. And this is someone, again, that I've just thrown in. We haven't been linked to him, but could be a possibility. And that is Dilane Bakwa from Strasbourg. He began his career at Bordeaux, playing 52 times, scoring 5 goals, providing 9 assists. He then moved to Strasbourg. He's played 66 games, scored 11 goals, provided 18 assists, and he had an incredible season last season. According to reports, Strasbourg have set a price of 30 million. So what's his style like? Well, Bakwa's a flair-driven right winger whose game revolves around one-on-one dominance, deceptive dribbling, and creative unpredictability. Bakwa's a little bit different to most wingers. Most wingers want to receive as they're going, so they want to build up momentum and receive the ball that way, so then they can just carry on the momentum. Bakwa's got this special signature where he can receive at a standstill, almost flat-footed, and then exploding past defenders using close control, body feints, and sharp changes of direction. He's byline winger. What I mean by that, unlike inverted wingers, he often hogs a touchline but drives to the byline to deliver crosses. He's averaging 6 crosses per 90. He also offers versatility. Despite him playing the majority of his games on the right, he's also played on the left, so he's comfortable on the left-hand side. So what's his tactical fit? Where he's ideal for teams that want wide isolation and value wingers who can break down low blocks, which is exactly what Newcastle United are looking for. The way to describe him, think of a more technical Noni Madueke or a less pace-reliant Anthony Gordon. So he's got a nice blend of technical finesse, but also pace. So how's he compared to Anthony Elanga? Now again, the disparity in league you need to remember, but his statistics are very pleasing, especially when it comes to shot creating actions. He's a creative monster, and I think Alexander Isak would absolutely thrive with somebody like Bakwa. But his non-penalty XG, his XG, his assists, his expected assists, his non-penalty goals are all extremely high. He's also progressive in his passes and carries, and he's also very successful with his take-ons. Now, the biggest concern about Bakwa is his defensive work rate. He presses well, he works hard, but he's not very refined when it comes to dueling or winning the ball back. So if there was an area for improvement, it would be that. But again, I want to propose a question to you guys. Would you rather somebody like Bakwa at 30 million to spend money elsewhere, or would you be comfortable and happier to sign Anthony Elanga for 60 million? Now, this Mango number 7 is going to get interesting because this is the guy that I think every Newcastle United fans would sign. I think if I put all these names in a list and in a pool and you could vote for one, I would predict that this guy would be top of the list, and that is Karim Adeyemi of Dortmund. Started out his career at Salzburg. He played 94 games, scoring 33 times, providing 24 assists. Then he went to Dortmund, 105 games, including a lot in the Champions League, 26 goals, 17 assists, and apparently Dortmund are asking for about 40 to 60 million. So maybe about 50 million could get him. So what's his style of play? He's blisteringly quick. He's a left-footed forward whose game is built around chaos, verticality, and unpredictability. One of his key assets, and the first thing you notice about Adeyemi, is his pace. He's so explosive. One of the fastest players in Bundesliga history. He thrives in open spaces and a transition-heavy system. Does that remind you of a team? Newcastle United. When it comes to how he dribbles, he loves to isolate defenders in one-on-one situations, using quick bursts and sharp changes of direction to beat them. He's not overly intricate when it comes to technical ability. He's more instinctive and aggressive when it comes to dribbling. He's a versatile attacker who can play across the front line. Funnily enough, he's played the majority of his games as a centre forward, then as a left winger, then as a right winger, despite him being left-footed. When it comes to finishing and how to get the best out of him in terms of output, in terms of goals, he scores more in flurries, often from chaotic sequences. So he's not a polished finisher or a poacher or a fox in the box. He's more dangerous when the game breaks open. Now, one thing I really do notice and like about Adeyemi, he's a pressing machine, relentless in the first line of press, fits a high-intensity system like Dortmund or potentially Eddie Howe's Newcastle United. So you're probably expecting, how does this guy compare to Anthony Elanga? Now, this is how he compares to Anthony Elanga. Don't forget, Karim Adeyemi comes with Champions League experience. He's very experienced. He's even played in the Champions League final, so he brings that quality, that expertise to our dressing room. But when it comes to expected goals, expected assists, he ranks really highly. Non-penalty goals, he scores more goals than Anthony Elanga. He averages more progressive carries, more successful take-ons than Anthony Elanga, so his ball retention is a lot better than Anthony Elanga's. And he also averages more defensive work rate than Anthony Elanga. He's averaging more tackles and interceptions. Now, they're quite similar when it comes to progressive passes. One thing I will say about Adeyemi, he's more refined in short sequences. He hasn't got that ability to really stretch the pitch with these passes or move his team into a different third with these passing. That's all about his ball carrying. But I want to propose a question to you guys again. Who would you prefer? Somebody like Adeyemi for roughly about 50 million or Anthony Elanga for 60 million? Now, I know that's a lot of information to digest, but I just wanted to show you guys that if we don't reach our prime target, which we all know Eddie Howe wants Anthony Elanga, which is why we bid for him last season and also bid for him this season. So he is the guy Eddie Howe wants. But if we don't get him, don't panic. There's alternatives out there. Personally, I think we should be looking in the European market anyways, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Would you welcome any of these signings above Anthony Elanga? And if we can't get Anthony Elanga over the line, which out of these 6 signings would you sign? But once again, guys, I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and I want to know your thoughts on this style of video. Did you enjoy this style of video? If you did, I'll do it on a striker, I'll do it on a midfielder, I'll do it on a right centre back. Let me know your thoughts in the below. But before you leave, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, away the lads.